Good afternoon. Thank you, Samir, for your speech and introduction. Before I get down to it, I have to tell all of you something. I have been dreading graduation for quite some time. The thought of graduation, the thought of this very day, the thought of this moment, here and now, all have made me rather anxious because I know what is to follow. Change. After turning our tassels, throwing our caps, and framing our diplomas, we will step out into the future. Some of us will move on to the military. Others will go on to college. Others still will join the workforce. However, regardless of our plans, all of us will encounter change of some sort. And you know what? Change is something that I've been fighting rather unsuccessfully for years. I resisted change because I've always deemed that when things are in their current state, they are already sufficient, already good enough. I mean, why fix something that isn't broken? So, growing up, I had always taken a very stubborn approach to change. While progressing through middle school, that very stubbornness evolved into fear. Fear of change. Then, once I reached high school, that fear had become so deeply ingrained in me that it affected every part of my life. In the area of my life to experience the greatest impact, golf. Upon beginning my freshman year here at Orange, Coach Bob Sowards took over as my new golf coach. After observing me on the range, he noticed that I had several bad habits with my golf swing. He pointed out that I had several critical errors in my golf swing that created a domino effect of more errors. Solution? I needed to change my swing, and drastically. Even though I knew that change was a necessity for improvement, I resisted. Remember that part about me being stubborn? So yeah, at first I fought the change. I soon realized though, that if I wanted better results, then I would need to embrace what I was fighting. And so I did. I stopped flipping my hands, which then helped to hit the ball farther and straighter. It also increased the overall consistency of my swing. Of course, one would think that after noting the results of embracing change in my swing, I would be able to tolerate change a tad better. Did I? No. Time passed, and before I knew it, my junior year was upon me. Over that year and a half or so, I had taken charge of changing my swing. Nevertheless, I began to realize that if I wanted to improve my overall performance, I would need to focus more and work harder. Despite knowing this, I was not fully committed to the process. My dad often suggested that I practice more, so of course I did. I found myself thinking, sure, why not? I have nothing else to do. But almost as if through prophecy, I began to notice that the time and effort that I'd been dedicating to improvement was not quite up to par. Sufficient was simply not enough because I was stagnant, like in a sand trap. I wasn't improving, but my peers were. On top of that, they were beating me with almost every single swing. Soon enough, another revelation. I was simply going through the motions of improvement, hoping to check one more thing off a list. I wasn't really committed to the process. I wasn't really committed to growing myself. My improvement depended upon my desire, my motivation, my dedication to this sport that I've loved so dearly from the time I first swung a club at 5 years old. Moreover, I realized that I needed to be willing to go all in and embrace the process and my love for the game 100%. And once again, I changed. It wasn't until my senior year that Coach Sowards really started to emphasize the value of approaching shots with the proper mindset. He once told me, the biggest thing that's in your way is your lack of confidence. Everyone believes in your game except you. And if you don't believe in yourself, you can't achieve the goals you've set. The changes that I had made up to that point in my golf game had been manageable. This was something different though. This was something I knew needed to happen. I just didn't know how to make it happen. Despite my lack of clarity on the how, I did understand the what of his comment. He was trying to make me see that I needed to recognize that I was capable of hitting the shots, instead of just wishing I could hit them. Simply put, I needed to believe in order to achieve. And this change is the hardest one of all. It's one I'm still working on. Clearly, golf has taught me many lessons about change. For instance, in order to change for the better, in order to truly better your life overall, you may have to make concrete changes to how you do things, just as I did, in order to improve my swing. Another lesson, you may also have to change your work ethic to fully understand why you do things, similar to how I had to align my goals with the new behaviors I established. And the most important lesson of all, in order to accomplish those two things, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe without abandon, without doubt. And when you join all of these together, when you finally decide to just go for it, the change you seek will garner you the results that you desire. Go all in, collapse into the unknown, and step outside your comfort zone. Yes, all of these changes are risky because you must commit to yourself, dedicating yourself to the change, embracing what comes afterward, resulting in whatever surprise that may be. Life does what it does best when it surprises us, when it catches us off guard. Like when life surprised me just a few days ago. I found out that I was to be one of Orange's valedictorians. This honor was unexpected. It came from out of the blue. When I heard the news, I was shocked and overwhelmed. Then absolutely terrified when I was given the option to speak in front of all of you today. Why? Because once again, I was so unsure of how everything would turn out. I was unsure of whether I would be able to share these words with you all today. Because as usual, I was not fully convinced that I would be able to pull this off. This one last swing, to write a speech that would capture the honor that this moment entails. But I am here, in front of you all, having embraced this surprising opportunity, and I hope that my words have captured everything. All the trials, emotions, swings and misses, to share with you the importance of change. Fighting change will never get any of us anywhere. Change is natural, inevitable, unavoidable. So adapting to it is instrumental in helping us be the best version of ourselves. In golf, I learned that the follow-through is just as important as hitting the ball. So too, in life, we must complete the swing and follow through. And as you watch the little white ball fly off into the distance, sometimes you can see where it lands, and sometimes you can't. But your approach should still be the same regardless. You must learn to play it as a